Well, you know what it is. Another episode of the MMA pod. One of these days we're gonna come up with an actual name for this aside from MMA pod. Um, so we're back with some of the usual suspects. Got G Money in the building. My man Darius, Stead Deloach, and then we got two special guests. Uh, First one, man that kind of needs no introduction at this point. You know, he's been on the show before, on the pod before, and also well known for getting buckets and swiping them pockets with them steals. That's Yoke. And then finally, for first time on the pod, and it's been a long time in coming, the big man. You can't miss him. At least you can't miss his build because he in that paint, blocking them shots and getting them boards. And that is Jarvis, aka Division. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
um, so for this special episode, we wanted to kind of bring in. We got two of the award winners for the season one of MMA. We're not going to count, the first iteration of the league. But anyway, so we got two award winners. We got Yoke with the six man of the year, um, who some argue could have been OPOY, DPOY, somewhere in that mix. And then we have, of course, Division, aka Jarvis, who won our first DPOY with a whopping, basically 4 blocks a game. I don't think that has been done as an average before, but I could be wrong. But at least we can say for sure this is the first time in MMA. So, I guess I'm gonna get right to it with you. Just how you feeling about winning the award, and how you feeling about being used so much as a reserve this season?
Well, I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate the recognition. I wouldn't have been able to be nominated for the award if I wasn't able to be used as a reserve. And to answer that question, I think it's just, it's something to be fond of because obviously when people look to a reserve, I mean, it's only a few reserves there, but I was the one being used the most. And if a team feels like I can bring the most value to them in the absence of their starter, then I can't be nothing but honored to try to help the best way I can. But yeah, man, I think it's cool, man. I think it's real dope, and I'm very appreciative of it.
Yeah, you definitely. I feel like you earned it by far. Some of us looking at it like, man, they got to upgrade. That's literally how much you were impacting the games as a reserve. It was like pretty much almost anybody that you reserved for, unless maybe a franchise player was missing, maybe, then it just felt like,
Mm.
man, they got an upgrade with Yoke. Um,
Yeah,
and
man, I
we
appreciate it too.
you lived up to it. So kind of I guess I know now you kind of mentioned in the Discord channel that you felt like, your at least your stats wise could have put you in the running for some other awards possibly. Now my question for you, what if you would have been eligible for an award, right? Aside from six man, which one do you think out of the two, OPOY or DPOY, would you have been more deserving of if you were able to be eligible, and why?
Before I realized that division was averaging 4 blocks a game, I would have said DPOY because, it hasn't been done, like you just said. I don't think it's ever been done in either league for someone to average 4 blocks a game. But also don't think it's been done that someone averaged 5 steals a game. But truth be told, I think protection at the rim might be a little bit more important than steals because you can get a steal and then turn it right back over. So it really don't matter. But if you can stop people from coming to the rim and discourage slashing, that changes the whole dynamic of the opposing offense. So I think his 4 blocks a game will outweigh my 5 steals a game. So before I recognized that, I would have said DPOY, but I can't say that. So I'd probably say offensive player of the year, just because I was able to have a lot of success with a lot of teams, and I just for fun. That was just the only reason why I mentioned it. It was just for fun, just to kind of see would it even been possible if I was eligible.
Hey man, talk your talk because you definitely been getting buckets no matter what team you play for. And I kind of one last question for you. Kind of want to ask you that is, some people look at it like, okay, he's just coming in and playing on the team and scoring. It's not that hard because you don't have to worry about game planning or whatever. But I don't think that that's the case. I could be wrong, but what has been like your approach when somebody asks you to reserve? What's been your approach? Because I know, at least myself, sometimes when you're coming onto a team, you don't want to step on toes. But it looked
Yeah.
like you seem to just fit in right, like hand in glove with pretty much any team. So what's been your approach?
Really, it's the work that goes unseen. Whenever I'm asked to reserve, usually that day I'm in a wreck by myself, running with randoms, so I can get used to adapting on the fly. Because as we all know, if you go in a wreck with randoms, you don't know what you're gonna get, especially if you're going in by yourself and you're not going in with a friend or two. But I think that's what helped me to be able to adjust to every team that I've reserved for is going in with a blindfold on, but I'm used to having that blindfold on because I train like that. So I feel like spoke, through my game.
Gotcha. So that's something that whoever it might end up reserving for us next season, they should probably keep that in mind. That
Yeah,
sounds like
for sure.
it's been very successful for you. So definitely
Yeah.
appreciate you. And again, congrats on the first MMA six man of the year award.
Before
And we
we
expect now. Oh, go ahead,
before we
Darius.
move on from Yoke, I just want to, for some of the guys who this is my first time actually I think talking to Yoke like directly, but for some of the guys who this is their first season playing with Yoke, I have always had this question. I know last pod they asked Renzo just how they came up with that name. How'd you come up with that name, Yoke? Like what does that mean? Is that like a nickname or because when we first joined the league,
Oh,
I remember I seen that name. I'm like, is it Yodi? Is it Yoke? Like then I found out the name is
yeah, man. That I think that name actually got some deep roots because I had that name for years. But for those who know me outside of Discord and outside of 2K, they know that I used to produce, used to make beats, used to songwrite and all that, and that was just my name, Coyote. But since I've joined the league, you know how people want to do. They want to shore your name up. They just want to call you something quick on the fly. So it went from Coyote to Yodi, and some people say yo. So when I hear people say yo, and they may just be saying the actual word yo, I be looking around thinking somebody called them a name. But yeah, it started from that. It was my stage name. That's what you would call it in the industry, in the music industry, stage name. It just so happened to become a gamer tag. I just stuck with it.
You still get involved in the beat because we our pod actually need like an opening beat.
Yes,
I probably
man.
could, man. I probably
We
could
just
put
need like a
together a
quick
beat.
little snippet joint. If you still got the sauce on the ones and twos, we
Yeah,
need a little
and
beat.
I may have some old beats, man. I had to send it to whoever I need to send it to, and I guess y'all can shuffle through some of those. But if not, man, I'd probably sit down and put together a fresh new beat.
Yeah, definitely keep us in mind. So, but Yodi, he did actually bring up a point that we kind of was talking about in the podcast a couple podcasts ago. How usually when it comes to the DPOY award, I know for me it's hard to overlook the big men. Like a lot of times we kind of throw the big men in there as like the runners or like the favorites. So when you mentioned like having 5 steals, that actually is like a pretty amazing stat. But just when you mentioned how much value division has as far as a big man locking down the paint to the point that you can basically make a team one dimensional. If you're trying to
Yep,
drive to the
yep.
basket, you know that you're not going to get easy lays. Now you're forcing them just to play outside and try to make shots. So that kind of lead me to division. I got a question for you. Just when you made your build, did you make the build with a defensive mindset, or did you just kind of get in the lab, throw something together that you liked, and then as the season came on, you realized like, oh, this dude is a defensive juggernaut.
So the build I make is the build I always make on 2K. Like every year is my favorite one. I'm comfortable with it. Um, I've been playing with my brother-in-laws, my cousin for years. I always played center. That's just where I was at. And one thing I learned early was people valued you more at center if you could do the main two things: protect the rim, grab the boards. If you wasn't doing that, nobody really wanted you to play center because you wasn't really accomplishing what they needed you to do. You know, everybody can dribble, everybody can shoot, everybody got 90 something drive and dunk and 91 3. But it's only a few cats on the court that's gonna grab double-digit rebounds and block shots and discourage the other team. So it's kind of what I always done made, and I just make it every year. It's the first build I make every time I turn on a new
You gotta
2K.
trademark that. That's the Mark Henry build.
Right.
That's you know what I want to ask you. I want to ask you this because based on that, so everybody's always giving your build names, and some of us like for example on my team, Tay makes builds consistently, and he names them different things. And we know we've been in the league with another brother he would play on the build. He would call that build Bron, or Tay calls one build Steph Curry, his Steph Curry build. Do you have any kind of nickname for your build so we can stop calling it Ogre and Mark Henry? Do you call it anything, or is it just that's just your build?
That's just my build, man. Y'all call it whatever you want. Just, understand that I made it to accomplish a certain purpose, and he accomplishes the purpose that I need him to do. So I didn't design him to score 25 a game, or shoot threes, or step back. So he made to do what he does. So
Hey man, that's what you
Got
need. If you're trying to play
Yeah.
championship basketball, you just need guys that's going to understand their role and do their role well.
Yeah, and kind of he not just do it well, but you epitomize the big man as far as defense this season. Like, I was looking at my stats, and when when you redid your stats after the 10 games, and it basically came out to 4 blocks a game, I said, "Oh man, nah, this man got my vote. I can't I can't argue that." And four blocks a game, like, we can laugh and joke because that's what some of the guys we laugh and joke about how slow your build is, but it doesn't matter. You've I guess adjusted or adapted to what your team needed, and really just anchor the defense like legit. And people, we can laugh and joke, but I don't see too many people just going up and getting layups or dunks while you're standing in that paint. So you've excelled at it, really. I kind of wanted to ask you, since we haven't had you on here yet, right? So this whole season, like, run me through, I guess, your thoughts from start to finish. And what I mean is, so for those that don't know, Jarvis was actually going to be a captain for season 1, but due to some scheduling issues and so forth, he had to back out of the captain's role. So from that moment on, I kind of want to know your thoughts, because I know you made a joke saying that you were getting ready to go undrafted after being a captain. So like, just walk me through your whole mindset from draft day, when you were drafted, and through to this point of the season, to the one game away possibly from the finals.
So for me, it was coming over. I played in UBA last year, and I was either a reserve or I was on a team that just sort of got. I think the last season of UBA I played in, I was just on a team that just sort of got thrown together with no chemistry. I think it was a need for an extra team, and we became the extra team. So it really wasn't. We didn't mesh all that well, and we weren't that good. We got blowed out a lot. I think I even reserved a few times for Yoke's team, and and the thing was, I always grab double-digit rebounds. I always block shots. But when you're on a team that's losing by 30, nobody notices or cares. So I kind of always done the same thing. But I said, if I played in this one, when I saw the opportunity to be a captain come up, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be a captain so I can kind of have some kind of control over the type of team I'm on. Because I always just was like thrown on the team. But then, like you said, with scheduling conflicts, with what I had going on, I'm like, okay, maybe I should fall back off of that. But I was a little hesitant only because I felt like, I had a reputation. I felt like from the UBA league where, oh, he's slow, he don't shoot, blah blah. And I felt like, I wasn't gonna get on a team that was gonna accentuate my strengths as usual. And I said, you know what, I give it a shot. Bishop, for those who don't know, is my real life blood cousin. And so he was like, nah, man, just come on, just play, it'll work out. So I did. I decided to go ahead and play. I thought I was gonna get drafted last, honestly. I got drafted second to last, so I guess it's about the same. But when I was like, okay, I'm playing with Kyle and Austin. And I'm like, okay, so at least I'm on a good team. And then Kyle got suspended. Like, oh man, here we go. And so I didn't know much about JP. I did know Miami Boy, like I told you, me and him know each other from back in the day. So I'm like, all right, well, at least I got a little familiarity. But once I was just allowed to just play my role, I told Aus, I said, hey man, look, I don't shoot, I play center. That's what I do. I play big man. Aus was like, that's cool. I love that. He's like, I got center builds that don't shoot either. And I'm like, all right, cool. And we just kind of vibed it out. I do a lot of stuff that he likes that maybe other centers won't do. And he do a lot of stuff I like that other people ain't willing to work with me on as far as, you know, my part of the offense. So
I got a lot of respect for that. Like you know, for those that missed it earlier in the day, Jarvis was talking and he said something about that. He said, I'm not going to make a build with, you know, a high three ball because I know I'm not a good shooter. So why am I going to wait, you know, sit out there chucking shots? And I know somebody, you know, some thought I was being facetious, but I agreed 1,000% and I still do agree. Like, I just feel like for those, I think of you, I think of my brother that I'm not going to say that neither one of you are good, like you're bad shooters or anything, but I don't think you're best suited to sit in a corner shooting threes. I think you guys are around that paint and you're deadly when you're there. Like Phil, I've seen him just the other day. He did go 6 for 6 from three, and if he catches fire, he'll kill you. But you know, he's more suited to me to do other things. And so for you, you've accepted that. Okay, I'm not going to just sit out here shooting threes. And even if anybody watched our playoff game, I took 8 threes in the one game, and I only made one, and it hurt the team. So I really respect how you know what you can do, and you're going to stick to it and try to make it work. And I really, you know, I have a lot of respect for both you and Austin as like the two best like two players that really stand out in your team right now as having found a way to coexist because you know, some of us due to our own limitations would have said, okay, I can't play with a center that can't shoot and that doesn't have speed. But you guys really made it work, and you guys are a tough team no matter the outcome of this game or not, like of your next game or not. You guys are a really tough team, and I have so much respect for what you guys did this season. So, you know, just really want to tip my hat to you. You ain't just earned it, you took it. The DPOY, you took it. So, you know, I got a lot of respect for you on that. G, or Darius, did you want to add anything to Jarvis?
No, I mean,
So a question. So again, looking at your bill, right? You had a successful season thus far, but going into the next season, if you were to remake that bill or make a similar bill, would you tweak anything? Because just looking from your bill, certain standpoint, you missed the threshold by like just one attribute. Like for example, I think your dunk was like a 90. Your standing dunk was like a 90 or a 91. If you would have won with a 92, you would have had fast twitch on gold,
Gold.
which makes your dunk a lot faster. So like going forward, would you be like making in the adjustment to make sure you hitting the threshold to get the attributes and the badges that's necessary to make the bill even more like of a viable threat defensively? And when you get the ball in the paint, because you're 7'3", like your close shot, I don't think it's pretty high, but with close shot and standing dunk, like you'll be averaging like a double double, like rebounds, points, and four blocks. So do you think that's anything you look into? Because I know at certain points during the league, we all are in the chat making bills together, bouncing ideas off each other. Is that something you think you would like to do, or you just think you're going to rock out with how you've been making your bills from the jump?
So I'm always open to adjustments and improvements. Every year, like I said, I make the same build every year, but I try to tweak it a little bit. Last year when I made it, it was a little bit more offense oriented as far as what you talking about. Like it had like a 99 standard dunk and all that. But when the thing is, when I get to Pro-Am, it's just a different feel for me. I didn't play a lot of Pro-Am back in the day. So Pro-Am still kind of honestly, a whole new world for me. So I'm just kind of like right now, just sort of adjusting to the feel and the gameplay and the speed of it all. And I'm just like, all right, let me do what I know for sure.
Right.
Good. And then next season we'll try to adjust some other stuff. So Yeah, Wavy keep offering me tips on the stuff so I can expand my bag. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Man, please stop helping this man, bro. Please. I don't want to see him on no 92 standing dunk. Please.
Nah, but on the road though, that's for any and everybody within the league. You feel me? That's what we're competing, but at the end of the day, we want to see everyone be successful, improve their game. So like the next upcoming season, like when we making bills, don't be a stranger. Like you see folks in the even if it's not a league game, you see folks in the chat, pop in there, talk to folks, because you might feel me, see what they doing on their bill, and you might say, oh, okay, I could add that to mine. Da, 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 da. And that makes for a more competitive league. If we all bouncing ideas off each other and improving, that makes the league even more better because it's going to be more competitive. Everybody's going to be better.
Right.
That's facts.
Yeah. For me, I think it was because I do have a regular team that I play with, and I do that with them. But again, I have an exclusive role on that team, and I guess for me that I've kind of brought that over. But I feel like if I had done a few tweaks, like you said, I could have been more of an asset on offense. I think I still averaged a double, like 11 points or something. So I think I still averaged a double, but it's just it's a lot better if I can, I think there are times when Alls probably would have wanted to like throw the ball to me in the post and just kind of let me go one-on-one and, maybe like a hook shot or, just anything, something just to kind of keep the defense honest. So yeah, I plan on working on that a little bit.
Nice. I like how nobody's just sitting back. Everybody's trying to get better. I respect that. We're gonna keep it moving a little bit. So I wanted to just get into for time's sake, we're gonna get into the playoffs. So I want to start actually with Said. Said, I gotta tip my hat to you. Y'all pulled it off. The upset 4 seed from a team that almost didn't make the playoffs to the upset going to the finals in a sweep, as a matter of fact. So I guess I want to ask you, like, number one, how are you feeling? But also, like, what was the big turnaround for you guys? Because at one point, we all saw the chat. It looked like your team was about to implode, and then boom, next thing you know, Ace and Chris found their stride. You guys are going to the finals. So this, let us know what's going on.
Yeah, no, it's been a rough, it's been a long season, but this is why I like leagues. This is why I love, competitive things like this, sports, like where you have to kind of team up with somebody and kind of figure it out. That the ups and downs of the season, and you kind of know how that was. You guys got off to a hot start, then you kind of had a droop, and then you kind of get back up, and then things happen, right? So same thing with us. We started out, kind of on a plateau, then it kind of went really really south. Usually losing can do that for you too. The morale can kind of drop a little bit. We had a lot of different guys who weren't really playing up to where they needed to play, including even myself. And so, but I think the turnaround was, we had a lot of different conversations. And I think another issue is that everybody knows that, people call me coach. I actually really did actually go to school to become a coach. So that's kind of like in me. I try not to overcoach, but sometimes I probably can't do that. And that can sometimes get in the way of what others want to do, even if I don't agree with sometimes. So in Ace's case, I just watched him in the combine. Very talkative guy, high IQ, knows the game. I think one time, BG, you brought up he was defending his man and playing the passing lane at the same time.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I was just looking at that like, oh, this dude got it, man. And not to mention I played against his actual team, and he was an absolute nightmare. So I knew the IQ was there. Me and Chris have been playing together for years. We bump heads all the time. Everybody sees it in the chat. So, but one of the things that he kind of talked about, because we went away from this, the games we won early in the season, Chris was featured quite a bit. And and I didn't mind that at all. I knew drafting Chris, like he was going to be him and Ace was going to be the 1-2 punch. But what happened throughout the season was the others. You know, people started helping off the others, whether it was helping off of Phil, helping off of me, helping off of Elijah. And if we weren't knocking down shots, it just made our offense super stagnant. So going into that series, you know, this first round of playoffs, the number one thing was scouting. Like, so for me, this goes back to the coaching aspect of me. I'm always going to go into a game with a game plan. We just got to, like, you know, stick with it. And I think you finally saw us sticking with the game plan, because in one aspect, Ace plays a different way than Chris plays. Chris plays a different way than I like to see a team play. So we're all kind of conflicting with each other. But I think what you saw and what you're going to see in the finals as well is that we're playing towards everybody's, because you seen what happened with Phil. Phil got the game for me, man. You know?
Yeah.
Phil was a nightmare, you know, with the backdoor cuts, very efficient. Shot 60% in that series. You know, with I think 1.5 blocks as well. So I mean, 5.5 rebounds. I was doing the stats, and you know, and 11.5 points. So he really went, you know, stood out. But we definitely was led by Chris. Chris averaged 21 and 13. 21 and 13. Ooh. Yeah, so
that hurts my heart.
With a great shooting percentage too, man. So so he really wanted, you know, he's you know, every time there's always guys that want the rock. And he's one of those guys that really want it. And he, you know, he got it, and he delivered for us. So I was so and Elijah. Man, Elijah balled out too, man. He shot 80% that series from the three. 80%, went 4 for 5, shot 5 threes, hit 4, and shot I think 60% from the field in general. So man, that's big for us. We need stuff like that. So that was big.
Yeah, that's when your team is most dangerous. All the teams, really, when you've got the guys that everybody focuses on, like in your guys' case, Chris and Ace, and you know, they do their job, they show up. But then when, like you said, the others show up, it's pretty tough. And I know from firsthand experience playing against you guys, Elijah hitting shots, it was like the dagger. Like it almost, to an extent, it kind of like was the morale killer. It's like, all right, we know Ace and Chris are going to do their thing, but then Elijah's hitting threes, we're not going to win. And it killed us. So hats off to all, you know, your whole five was just, I think, and I may be mistaken, I don't know how many games that happened this season, but that, at least that the elimination game 2, was one of the only times that I can remember off the top of my head where a full 5 were all in double digits and all shot efficiently.
Oh yeah.
So
that it was a well played game. That both games really, but that second game, yeah, like I think that everybody felt so good that after that first game, and the second game, it just felt free. If you were in the chat, like we knew what we wanted to do, and it just, you know, it was free. So it was really good.
Yeah,
one question before you guys move on from that. Just giving us a little insight into the dynamic of your team set. Just asking because obviously to make the turnaround that y'all made, you got to have leadership, especially to be as hot as you are right now, going 2-0 to start the playoffs. But who would you say is the leader of your team? I mean, of course, you're the captain, put the team together. But then, like, sometimes when you just if you listen to some of your streams, you know, like you mentioned, you hear Ace, how vocal he is, and how he really tries to, like, keep the team going when you guys are going through tough stretches. You got Chris, who you hear him on the stream as well when, like, you guys need a bucket, or sometimes just calling out things that you need to clean up during the game. Like, who would you say is really, like, the leader of your team? And that's not like a divisive question, but just from your point of view, who would you say that?
Yeah, that is? I would say I love the way. So I'm a very talkative player. on the mic, and I like others that talk, but you can't have everybody talking. So I think our team works because Elijah and Phil are more quiet, and they a lot of times just be kind of chilling. And Ace is that guy that, because he's the point. You know, he's calling. You guys can hear it on the screen. He's calling the shots. He's telling us what he sees. You know, as far as like, hey, Phil, if you look at the way M Willis, when I do this, he's gonna do this. And a lot of times he was right. So as the point, that's what you want. Like so you want the point to be your leader. But then on the flip side, what Chris does, Chris is like that. You know, for one, he's going to protect the paint. He had 2.5 blocks. A lot of people said, you know, he could have been in the DPOY, which I think if we won more games, I think he could have. We were at the bottom of the league, barely got into the playoffs. So that, you know, it's kind of hard to get an award if you're, you know, struggling. So, but either way, with his defense, and then on the flip side, you know, as he says, the best center in the league, you know, as far as like just, I mean, the guy can score at 3 levels. You know, he can take you in the paint, drop step you. He can hit a mid range. He can hit a 3. He can go pick and pop, pick and roll. So, I mean, he is, you know, he's a versatile scorer. So from a scoring standpoint, he's our go-to guy. So from a leader, from that aspect, that's him. But Ace, the point guard, yeah, man, he calls the shots.
Yeah. Yeah, based off of just some of the streams I see, I agree with what you said. This just goes to show how valuable it is to have somebody like that. Because Ace, he really does actually remind me of Austin, just the way he talks the game out to his teammates, and obviously that's just a very valuable piece to have, like you said, the guard position, especially. So
Yeah. So I'm kind of, we talked to said, I kind of want to, briefly, because we're gonna kind of get to wrapping up, but I want to get to, we still have an ongoing series, so I wanted to get to George and Jarvis, and then we'll get rounded out with Yote. But first, I want to just for your team, that crazy hot start, y'all like just came out the gates running, and next thing I know, like I tuned into the stream a little late. I saw the score and I had to do a double take. I think it was like 29-5 or something like that. And y'all just, just carried that success over. I mean, that first quarter or first half over into the second half, and just, won the game easily. And then they came back and they counterpunch. Like, you get hit, you got to punch back. So they did that. So now for you, without giving any game planning or anything like that, what do you think is something or things or something that you guys need to do to win this series and get to the finals?
Speaking for myself, that second game, I ain't really hit the shots that I had that was open. The first game, I don't even know what my percentage was, but I know I shot well from 3 and 2. And then that second game, I was 5 for 15. So we had points where we was there. Like, it was a 3-point game at one point. It was 4, it was 5. But the shots we was hitting in the first game, we weren't hitting. And then on defense, we was a little lax. You feel me? They set in back string, we're not communicating. And then we decided to go to a zone a little too late. So it was a game. You feel me? I feel like we had a chance to still win it, but just little mental errors that we made. On offense, not focusing, hitting shots, and then on defense, not communicating. So that's the key, man. Just being focused throughout, start to finish.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a real take. And I do want to, like, I enjoyed watching you for the first game where you were balling out, like just looking at you specifically, and not trying to make it a you thing, but I was impressed. You were hitting like some tough step backs, and you were just letting it fly. Like I could feel the confidence through the screen, literally. Like G is pulling, and you can't tell him nothing, and he's hitting. And you're one of the most streaky shooters in the league, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is, like, when you catch fire, it's pretty much lights out. So that was very enjoyable to watch from that standpoint. So, and then Jarvis, I'm gonna pivot to you. Being the opposition to that man G Money. Since we can't hear you on the streams with Austin, I guess I got 2 questions for you. One, like, what was your your thoughts after the first game, like the morale wise, like were you guys not, I won't say panic, but were you, were you worried? How were you feeling after that first game? And then what did you guys do really without going into the game plan? But like, what was your mindset going into that second game to turn it around?
That first game, we pretty much felt like they blitzed us. Like they jumped out big early. I think it was like 26-6 in the first quarter. Like they just jumped out early, and our normal style of play is kind of a slower pace, obviously because of my build, but Austin kind of likes that too. A slower pace, ball control. Don't lose a lot. Don't get a lot of turnovers. Find open people. Let them make comfortable shots. We couldn't make shots. We was turning the ball over. I mean, G was on them fast breaks, killing us. We couldn't get back. I mean, before we knew it, we were down by like 26. So it was just like by halftime, I'll be honest, we were just like, all right, guys, like they don't got us this one. They caught us off guard. We wasn't ready. They was better prepared than we was. So we just spent the second half kind of working on the adjustments for game 2. And they worked. And so we just carried them over into game 2. And we think those adjustments helped us to get the victory in game 2 and kind of offset what they was doing in the first game. We felt like maybe they got a little overconfident after the first game just because of the margin of victory. And we was kind of counting on that and them thinking that they could just probably run it back and do the same thing, but we switched it up and kind of counted it. We one thing about our team, we got a lot of guys who are really good and really willing to adjust and adapt to situations, and I think that's what we did. So they've been a tough matchup for us all year, though. I mean, we probably kind of split our games. I know some of them, one I got kicked, one was a forfeit, but even when I played a full game against them, we lost. So I mean, it's been a pretty balanced match between us all year. So I think it'll be a good game tomorrow night.
And looking forward to it, and respect to both of you guys, just for for being honest, and also for the way you guys have both balled out in the playoffs so far. And I gotta say, I do really respect the Hogs offense. You guys, to me, have the best offense in the league, and what I mean is, you guys have the best structure. And you guys did something that really goes untalked about, but usually after a play in the playoffs, when we're playing more than one game in the same night, I've noticed this now. We've been in the league for a little while, doing leagues for a little while. After a playoff win or loss, both teams, one team always wants to hop in real fast. Usually it's the team that wins the first game. And we don't give that, we have that 15-minute grace period usually for normal games, but playoffs seems to go out the window and everybody's trying to rush to get the second game in. And one thing that you guys did that, just a small thing that I noticed, Austin paused the stream. I think you guys were gone for like 10 minutes, so I'm sure you guys were discussing things. Y'all regrouped and made some adjustments, and boom. So definitely looking forward to the decisive game 3. I think it's going to be, must-see TV, and we're going to have to check that out. And then I finally want to get to Yote just to kind of round things out. Now, Yote, you have reserved for definitely, we know you reserved for the Hogs a bunch. You reserve for the Crusaders in the playoffs, as a matter of fact. And you don't have to necessarily pick a winner, but kind of just tell me your thoughts, and you can discuss, what you've seen, not game plan stuff again, but like, what are your thoughts for the keys for either team to win in this final game 3?
Truth be told, man, I think it's gonna go to the team who plays the best on defense, because that's what I noticed from game 1 or 2. It's gonna come down to defense. It's not gonna come down to anything but defense. How well you defend cuts, how well you defend shooters, somebody like Tyler. But yeah, the first game when y'all seen us go up, like, well, it was up 20, 25, almost 30 in the first quarter. I don't know what it was, but it was really defense. It was credit to the defense, and that carried on throughout most of the game. The third quarter, the defense wasn't as good, and probably a little bit of the fourth quarter, but they kind of put it together by the end of the game. And the reason why I feel like Crusaders lost the second game is because of defense. You know, it was some backdoor cuts that they could not stop. Well, not they, we. The reason I say they is because I'm not on their roster, but we couldn't stop the backdoor cuts. They figured out how to get Tyler involved. They was forcing it to Tyler, but they were successful. They were successful in getting him involved. Because if you don't get Tyler and JP involved, they lose game two. Bad Boys and Crusaders are going into the finals. But they adjusted. They made those adjustments. Who I think will win, I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue. And that's not me being biased. I genuinely do not know. Because I do know that I make a difference, but I probably won't be on the court with them tomorrow because I think my brother, he should be available. I'm not sure what they discussed, but I haven't been told that I would be needed to reserve for either team. So with him coming into the lineup, I don't know how different the Crusaders look offensively and defensively. But I also don't know how well Tyler and JP gonna play to help Austin. Because if you notice in the second game, we could have lived with Austin getting 30. We could have easily lived with him getting 30. But when you got JP, I think he had 21, then Tyler had 22. Man, you can't do nothing with that. So as long as you stop those other two guys and let Austin get what he wants or try to, make him take back shot, Crusaders should win, but that's yet to be seen. We'll just have to see it.
Yeah, gotcha. And credit to Aus. He's some people's GOAT. I can't make myself
don't say that. Don't do that because you put it in the chat the other day. You put it in the chat the other
day. He is some people's GOAT. But for real, that's what great players do though. And Austin, credit to him. Like, I've been saying this all season long. The man was dealt lemons and made freaking cranberry juice, and it wasn't even lemonade. It was some fine wine or something. Because to get that team balling when we all thought they were done, and credit to literally the other four, every one of them for buying in and playing roles and sticking to those roles and then excelling in those roles. And to Yoke's point, when JP and Tyler, I'll say we expect Tyler to hit shots. And I'm not saying we don't expect JP to hit shots, but when he's hitting, that's like the chef's kiss, the cherry on top. That team is deadly. So, I expect it's going to be a slugfest tomorrow. And I actually think Denarius brings a different dimension because he's going to force, if he's on center, he's going to force the Vision to have to do, to kind of guard up a little bit. So, because he's one of the better shooting bigs that in the league, in my opinion. So, that's going to be, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see the game. And who knows? We'll have to talk about it. We might be able to get a little commentary on that game. We'll see. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. So, appreciate all you fellas for joining us tonight. Look forward, hoping you guys have success for your upcoming games. Hopefully you have success in the finals. And whatever happens, we all brothers. So love all of y'all and appreciate you. Thank you guys for playing in the league, and thanks for just letting us have something like this where we can play together as brothers. So really appreciate.
I look forward to the off season, man. I really want to see where Puka goes.
So very, very, very last question.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, like Brandon said, you play for pretty much everybody as a reserve. So you got to pretty much play with the whole league. Now I know you don't have a say per se in where you go. Like you have to get picked up since we have the free agency. But since you play with pretty much everybody, is there anybody in particular that you feel like you never got to play with them before in any of the leagues? You wouldn't mind playing with them, or is there anybody who you see you think would be a good compliment to you? Or that
I emoji.
Because I'm only asking that because obviously we know the offensive power that you have. But I'm looking at the games that you subbed for in the playoffs. And, you and George, one game George did his thing. The next game you did your thing. That could be a nice little duo. So I just want to see where your head is at. If you had a say in where you could go, is there anybody that you feel like you will compliment their game?
Truth be told, man, it's a handful of players that I wouldn't mind playing with.
Give me your top three.
Top three, man.
Trying to put you on the spot.
Top three.
We gotta leave the people with something. We gotta give them a nugget.
I love it.
Like,
man, I tell you what, I can do. I give you a center, a point guard, and I'll give you a forward. I give you those three positions of who I would like to play with, or who I wouldn't mind playing with. I'm not gonna say I like because it's not like I'm telling captains to hey put this together, but just putting it out there. One of the bigs I would love to play with, and I played with him previously, is Hunter. Hunter, he kind of fits my brand of basketball. He's somebody who, and Division does too. But when somebody gets certain accolades, when someone gets to a certain point, when they moving up within the league, I like for them to remain a competitor, like someone I can compete against. So no slight to Division, but I definitely would like to play, or wouldn't mind playing with Hunter as a big, as a point guard. Ace, I think that goes without saying. I definitely wouldn't mind playing with Ace. He
Uh-oh.
plays the same type of basketball that I like to play. You can do we know what you can do, but you do what the game calls for. And that's what Ace does. That's what Hunter does. Third, man, it's kind of hard to say.
I know said over there about having a stroke hearing his point guard's name mentioned,
Oh,
because now he might have a decision on his hands.
Caps heard it first. Y'all better clear them pockets. Yo, telling y'all, come get him.
Yeah, man, it's kind of hard to pick that third guy because it's a few people I could name.
Hey, yo, don't give him too much tonight. Don't give him too much tonight.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that because I can't really.
Let him magic.
Yeah, I'm just,
Well,
and anybody I don't name, I like I said, y'all, I played with everybody. I don't mind playing with anybody, but if I just had to name a few people off the top of my head, they'll probably be the two that come to mind.
No pressure. Just a fun little nugget to lead the people with. That's all.
That's respect.
Yeah.
Darius, we gotta add. I told you I had a question for you, so I was going to ask you. So we've heard that you plan on entering free agency. I gotta know, and I'm sure other Caps want to know if they're going to consider picking you up. Have you been really working on your build? What's up? We don't see you. What's going on?
You're asking a lot of questions, bro.
You gotta leave these people with a nugget.
Asking a lot of questions. I see y'all in the summer league. Y'all come catch me there.
All right, man. So y'all heard it here first. We got an exclusive from the pod with Yoke giving a couple players he might like to play with. Caps, be on the lookout, and let's see how this playoff game goes tomorrow and then the finals. And with that, we out.